So you are thinking about moving to Phoenix, Arizona, but you're not exactly sure where to start. It seems really overwhelming. You're not sure if you should just start looking at properties, fly here, visit, see what it's like. So that's exactly what I'm going to teach you in this video, is every single step of the process you need to know so that you can plan and prepare and have a seamless and successful move to Phoenix, Arizona. Let's get to it. Before we get started, I just want to say, make sure that you subscribe, hit that notification bell so that every time we release a new video, you get notified and you can stay up to date on what's going on with the Phoenix market and get educated with new videos every single week. And listen, if you're thinking about moving to Phoenix, you're thinking about relocating here to the Phoenix metro area, you're going to need a real estate agent to help guide you, and that is exactly what we are here to do. Our team helps a ton of buyers relocate to Phoenix, and we have people calling, texting, emailing us, trying to get started, figuring out what their next steps are going to be. So I'm going to put my information here. It's in the comments and in the description. Send us a call, send us a text, give us a call. We would love to help you get started, love to help you navigate a seamless and successful move into the Phoenix metro area. All right, let's get to it. So your first step is going to be scheduling a Zoom meeting. This is our in-person, face-to-face meeting where we can talk about your plans to moving to Phoenix, what that looks like for you, your goals, your lifestyle, and all of the things that we're gonna need to know to help you move to the Phoenix metro area. This is where we can talk about what your work situation is like. Are you going to have a commute? Do you want to be commuting very far? Are you okay with a drive? What kind of lifestyle do you live? Are you really into the city life? Are you more outdoors? And just narrow in on a couple of details. And we're also gonna go over what the Phoenix market is like. I have a video that I released last week talking about my predictions for the Phoenix metro real estate market in 2022. And of course, I will update you as I experience the market and any changes we see this year. But we really go in depth about what you can expect moving here, your timeline, budget, things like that. So that Zoom meeting, that face-to-face meeting is so important. I think that there's been times where I haven't had the chance to have that Zoom meeting with a client for whatever reason. And I can say that for my experience working with the client, and I think the client's experience working with me and our team, and just really understanding the process, having that face-to-face meeting, even if it's over Zoom, even if you're not here in person, that's the closest in person we can get sometimes. It is critical so that you know what to expect working with us, our team, moving forward with your move, and you know what to expect out of the market and what the market is like, what you should expect as far as offering and the conditions, competitive trends that we're seeing, things like that. So I think that Zoom meeting is so critical. We have links in the bio, we have links in the description. So make sure that if you are thinking about relocating to Phoenix in the next 3 weeks, 3 months, or the next year or so, that you get that meeting scheduled so that we can get a chance to get to know each other and prep you for the most successful move possible. Step number 2 is consulting with a local lender. We think it's a great idea whether you think you're going to purchase with all cash, like a lot of relocation buyers are that are moving into Phoenix, or if you know that you are for sure going to be financing your purchase, is to consult with a local lender. Sometimes our buyers come to us with a big bank, national lender, and that is totally fine. Sometimes they do end up using that lender. But we find that most of our buyers have a better experience with a local lender, and for a couple of reasons. Sometimes the other agents that we are putting an offer in, they know that local lender or they know of them and they have a good reputation. That definitely has pull, especially in a competitive market like we are in right now. The next reason that we think going with a local lender is a really good idea is because they know about the local market and specific programs to the area. Sometimes the national banks do not have that, and they're not as up to date with the market. And so we think that at least consulting with a local lender, even if you're gonna go with a national lender, is a great idea, just to make sure that you have somebody who's local, their opinion, and guidance in the situation, you can determine after comparing your experience with both who you would like to use. But we just think it's a really great idea. And most of our buyers just have a far better experience working with somebody that's local. Now, we have several local lenders that we highly recommend that we've had a great experience with. And if you need somebody, when we're in that consultation or even before, we can send you the list of lenders that we recommend for getting pre-approved with and seeing what your financing options are. And we seriously have had such a good experience with them that they are always our top recommendations, and we are happy to share even if you don't end up using them, just so you can get that second opinion. So when you're scheduling your consultation, or if you're not ready to schedule a consultation and a meeting, but you want to maybe look into those financing options, we're happy to send that list of lenders anytime. Okay, step number 3 is we are going to set you up on a local home search. Now, during our consultation, we probably will have talked with you about what your lifestyle is like, what you're looking for in your move to the Phoenix metro area. And so what we're going to be doing when we set up your local home search is hopefully defining more of an area that meets your budget and what that lifestyle is going to look like. Now, at this point, it could still be pretty broad to the Phoenix metro area, but before we ever start going and looking at homes, we're definitely going to want to narrow in that home search. The Phoenix metro area is huge, and if you're looking at the whole entire valley, it's going to be so overwhelming. Trust me, I had some buyers a couple of years ago, and they came in, they had some family members here. They were the sweet couple moving from California, and they just had some false expectations about the market. And that was coming from some family members that lived here, but they didn't actually know the prices of homes, and it was really hard for them because what they were expecting, what they found in the local market was, those were two different things. And even though we did have a consultation, when we started going out looking at properties, they felt like, okay, well, maybe if we broaden the search and we keep looking in different areas, we'll find what we're looking for in that budget that they were expecting when they came up front. Unfortunately, that led to us searching for months and months before they realized, okay, we really need to search by the budget we're comfortable and not by what this expectation of what we thought we were coming into, because the Phoenix metro area is so huge. I mean, I live in Peoria. I work in the Peoria, Glendale, Surprise area a lot. That's the most common areas that I work. And it could take you an hour and a half to 2 hours to get from Surprise down to Santan Valley because it is just so spread out the way that the Phoenix metro area is. So we're going to set you up on a local home search, but we really don't want to be overwhelming you with the whole entire valley. So upon setting you up on the home search, we're going to have you do further research. We're going to be sending you information, talking with you. Upon setting up your home search, we are going to be sending you more information and talking back and forth with you about where we want you to Upon setting up your home search, we are going to be sending you more information, having conversations back and forth about what you're really looking for, and starting to narrow in the area. We really ideally would want you narrowed in on a couple of neighborhoods, zip codes, and maybe 1 or 2 cities. And that is so that we can be really focused in your home search, saving you time, especially if we're going out and looking at properties. If you're coming in for one weekend, we do not have time to be looking across the whole valley or even half of the valley. We need you really to know what areas you're most interested in. That way we can be focused and getting you into the right homes for showings and not every single home on the market that might meet your budget and your criteria. That could take forever. Trust me, not the way to go. So this is the point where we're going to be narrowing in on the area for you, the types of homes, really what you're looking for. And at this point, that's where we are going to start setting up showings and seeing the homes either in person or in video tours. Step number 4 is home tours. And so this is where we're going to be either taking you in person if you are in town, or we're going to be doing FaceTime video tours with you of the properties. Now, at this point in time, hopefully we're pretty narrowed in on your area and we have a good sense of what you're looking for. It's just a matter of finding that right home. Part of the home search process when we're doing tours is if you are in person, we like to have you, take some time either before or after the showing to kind of drive around the neighborhood and the general area around it, because we want you to see more than just the house itself. We know that location is a huge factor in loving where your house is at. And if your house is right next to a large shopping center or a busy road, we want you to know that at the time that we're doing the showing. And so we're going to always suggest that you take a little bit of time before or right after the showing to drive around the neighborhood, drive around the general area, get a feel for if this feels like an area that you would be comfortable living in, that you want to live in, and that would make sense for your budget and purchase price. And if you're not in the area, one thing that we really, really recommend you do is use Google Maps to your advantage. When I do video showings, I'll go and take some driving footage of me driving up into the neighborhood and give you a sense of, what the neighborhood looks around it, anything that I might notice that I would want to know. If I'm seeing anything that's kind of sketchy, or if I'm like, hey, this neighborhood's really cute and nice, and there's some kids down the street, or there's this couple that came up and talked to me as I was, getting the showing set up. I'll tell you those kinds of things, but it's not always the same, right, as being there in person. And so Google Maps has a lot of great things. You can use the satellite view to see what's around it. This is really key, again, to see if that house backs up to a really busy road, a main road, or to back up to a large commercial building or shopping center. That is one thing that I personally, I have kids, I don't want to back up to something like that where there's going to be loading trucks and things like that in the middle of the night, and you just never know what can be going on in the back of those shopping centers during off hours and overnight. And if you've got a family, or even if you're elderly and you're living by yourself, or you're just worried about safety at all, things like that, that's important to know about. So use that satellite view, and also use the Google Street View where you can take the little guy and walk around. I think, sometimes you don't get the full impression because you can't hear everything. Sometimes, the more senses, obviously, the better. But if you can use that to get a sense of what that area is like, that can help you have a better understanding if you're doing it virtually. I like to point out negatives a lot when I'm doing these virtual showings. If I smell anything weird, I hear anything, or see anything that I think is off or that I would want to know about, these are the kind of things that I point out. I know that's not sales 101, but I want to be honest and transparent. I want my clients to like the house that they end up in, and I don't want them to feel like I pushed or sold them a house that they're not comfortable with, right? And so especially, in the relocation process, I think it's important for me to just speak about what I'm hearing, seeing, feeling, smelling, all the things around me, so that you get a full sense and you can make the choice for yourself about if that's something you're okay with or if you want to keep searching. So that is step number 4. And then when you you find a property that you love, then we're going to go into step number 5. Step 5 is offering on the property. This is when step number 1 really becomes important, because in my consultations and meetings, I like to go over what the market is like and different offer strategies. That way we have already talked about that up front, and you can be prepared for different things that I might suggest. Now, before we offer on the home that you've just fallen in love with, I'm always talking with the listing agent. I think that is super important, especially in a competitive market. But I like to start off the relationship in a good professional manner by getting an understanding of the seller as much as the listing agent will tell me about them, and what's important to them in writing an offer, what's important to them in terms of price, title company, closing time frame, different things like that. And I think that this is really important when negotiating for my buyers in a competitive market. I like to know as much as I can. That way we can tailor our offer. And sometimes this really has been helpful, because sometimes I've built that relationship with the listing agent up front, and they let me know about where other offers are and how we might be able to make your offer stand out or look better to the seller. So I really use communication and negotiation skills during this time, especially if we are in a competitive market, to come up with creative strategies. Now, most of the time we'll have talked about the price of the home and what I think it's worth by this point. But in a competitive situation, which we are in still a lot in the beginning of 2022, we'll see as the year goes on, but that's still something I expect to be facing a lot this year. So if you're moving here in 2022, I just want you to be prepared to have a competitive offer. Now, I don't think it's as crazy as last year. There are some properties that are just flying off the shelves, and really the bidding wars are still going on because they're priced competitively and they're in great condition. But even if you're up against 2 or 3 other offers, we still want to be prepared to make a reasonably competitive offer to get you the home if this is the home that you really believe is going to be the one. So be prepared to still be competitive. I don't think it's going to be as crazy. Watch that video from last week, but I do want you to be prepared. That way you don't feel like you weren't prepared to compete and then you had to, or that you weren't ready to compete and you didn't offer as competitive as you should have and then you missed out on the property. That happens a lot with buyers. I can understand it because when you're in a competitive market, it's difficult sometimes. It feels risky, but I want you to be prepared and educated about the competition and what the offer is. Step 6 is the escrow process. So if we've already gotten your home under contract, this is when all of the fun stuff starts. The escrow process, where you're getting your inspection done. Escrow is doing work, making sure that the title can be transferred into new ownership. Your lender is going to be doing work to close your loan, if you're getting a loan, that is. And this is when a bunch of paperwork is going to be sent to you by different parties, and we're going to be potentially negotiating repairs or making sure the condition is what you want it to be for the home purchase that you're making. So this is when all those fine details start coming together. And as we move through the escrow process, you get closer and closer to that closing date, knowing that you finally got approved for the loan. You sign all of your documents, your thick booklet of documents, and then you send in your closing costs and down payment money. The deed is recorded with the county, and then we get to hand you keys. So the escrow process, that could take me a while to go over, and we won't go over that in this video. I typically let you know what's going on. I give you a week at a glance update during the escrow process, so you know exactly what to expect next. And then if anything changes within that week, I'll give you a call, let you know what's going on, if there's been any changes or delays, or maybe we're ahead of schedule and something else is coming that we didn't talk about for that week. And then I will let you know what to expect next after that change. And so I like to send videos sometimes letting you know, hey, this is how this works, or this is what this document is. And I try to stay pretty proactive, letting you know and communicating with you each week and as updates come. That way you don't really have a lot of questions during this time because there's a lot of moving parts. And then you can refer back to those emails as well to see, if you're like, oh, I know that we were supposed to do something this week, or we had something coming up that I should expect, but I can't remember what it was. It's usually in that email that I sent at the beginning of the week, letting you know, hey, here's your transaction update, here's what's going on this week, and here's what you should expect. And so if we're expecting something from the lender, or we're waiting on an appraisal, or something from title, you'll be able to refer to that and know, okay, should we be looking out for an email this week from our escrow officer about, HOA and CC&Rs, things like that. So that is the escrow process. Lots of fun, minute details, but the essential things to get you to the closing table. And step 7 is closing and then celebration. It's kind of like a two-parter. Closing is the fun part, right? You finally get to close. You get the official notice from title that, hey, your deed has recorded at county. We are officially closed. You are a new homeowner in Phoenix, Arizona. And then you get to get keys. I get to transfer you keys, and you get to move in, celebrate, be excited that you finally are a homeowner in Phoenix, Arizona. I think that this is the most exciting part. I like to celebrate with my clients, usually bring them a little gift or do a little photo thing, a little photo shoot at the house with a bottle of champagne or sometimes some wine or sometimes just drinks for the family, coffee, whatever it is that you guys like. But this is just such a fun time, and this is when all of your hard work has, you're cleared to close, you're closed, you get to move in. And of course, then you have to move and unpack and everything, but you finally get to be in your house and be Phoenix residents, and it's such an exciting time. So that is the 7-part process for moving to Phoenix, Arizona, especially from another city, another state, and hopefully that helps you identify where to go and the process of getting relocated from wherever you're coming from to the Phoenix metro area. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I love helping people relocate to the Phoenix metro area. It is one of the main sets of clients that I have is relocation clients, and the same with my mom. So if you are looking at relocating to Phoenix, you're thinking about moving here, please call us or send us a text, send us an email so you can get started or ask your questions. We absolutely would love to help you, and we've helped several others and will continue to do so, especially with the way that the Phoenix metro area is growing at this point. So we are really looking forward to helping you in 2022 or years after if you're not quite moving here this year. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell because you're going to get notified when you do that of new videos. And my goal here is to educate you about moving to Phoenix, Arizona and what it's like living here. So I'm going to continue doing vlogs and tours and explaining the valleys. That way you get as educated as you can and you get excited and feel like you know more about where you want to move, what it's like living here, and just you're ready and excited to move to Phoenix when the time comes that you're actually ready to make the move. So subscribe and hit that bell, and we will see you next week.